Today's show is sponsored by Indie Film Hustle's Filmmaker Process. We provide filmmakers with professional services to get their films or series funded, finished, and distributed. For more information, go to filmmakerprocess.com.
You directed a film called Max. Again, I'm afraid to ask about any film that you directed. Is that a film that you were like really passionate about?
Well, Max is a film actually that it was sort of like me trying to make amends in a way to myself for how I felt when I was doing Titans, whereas I also found myself again in a position where I needed to make a movie. I had written a movie to sell with my friend Sheldon, an old friend of mine, who loves dogs, and I had some idea about a dog, and he was like, "Come on, Boaz, we have to write this," and we wrote this movie and sold it to MGM. I had no intention of directing it or anything. I sold it. And about a year later, I found myself needing to do something, and the producer called me up and asked me to take a look at the script that someone else had done some writing on, and said, "Well, what are your thoughts on it?" And I reread the script, and I read our draft. And I was like, I think if we can go back to our draft, I know how to make this movie and make it appealing. And I called them and I said, look, if you guys want me, I'll direct this, as long as we can go back to our script of it. And they said yes. And I went, you know what, let me just try and have a good time, work with some nice people, and make some kind of an appealing movie. And that's what I did.
And for everyone, can you tell everybody what Max is about? Because a lot of people might not know what it's about.
Max is a movie about what they call an MWD, a military working dog. So it's about a dog that gets traumatized in Iraq and gets his handler killed, and then he gets adopted back into society by the family of the Marine that was killed. So it's about a traumatized vet dog who has to sort of like get his shit together with his family that adopted him. It's almost like an old school 50s, 60s Disney kind of a movie. Those days, those Disney movies had kind of an edge, like when you watch Old Yeller or something like that. You're like, wait, he just killed that bear. Like that, those boars just gored him. Wait, that kid just shot 3 wolves. Like, they don't do stuff like that. And the kid is still Old Yeller at the end. What the fuck? Like,
Spoiler alert for everybody who hasn't seen Old Yeller.
Yeah, spoiler. But like, family movies back in those days were like definitely a lot more hard-bitten than they are now. Anyway, so it was sort of like a callback to like those 50s kind of like Disney family movies.
50s, just go back to the 80s. You remember Never Ending Story? Or Secret of Nim?
Which one?
Secret of Nim, the animated Don Bluth film.
Oh, yeah, that was a little harsher. That was a little
harsh. And Never Ending Story, they killed a horse, and you're just like, I'm like, are you kidding? Like, you never. I mean, never. They're freaking out about the Swedish Chef right now on the Muppets. I mean, can you imagine?
Is that the character that they say is a negative stereotype? Why they put the disclaimer? Because the Swedish Chef?
It's the Swedish Chef. Yeah, it's the Swedish Chef.
Holy shit, man. I'm as lefty as you get, but this is the one area where, like, I'm, like, aligning with all these whiners about cancel. Like, come on, people. Actual F?
I mean, I don't want to get into that conversation because that's a chef.
To watch the rest of this interview, head over to bulletproofscreenwriting.tv.